Hey Bodgies and Widgies, and welcome back to the channel. I hope you've had a great Easter long weekend break, and I am sorry for missing last week's video. Just had a few priorities like uni and work get in the way, and it just didn't really give me enough time to make a video and send it out to you guys. However, I am back with you this week and we've got a pretty jam-packed video where we're going to be unboxing some corals that were sent to me by an amazing Australian aquarium YouTuber. And with those corals, I've set up a brand new saltwater aquarium. So I'll take you through everything about this saltwater tank, why I set it up and those kinds of things. But before we get into this video, as always, let's acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land and the people that are managing our land as well. But I say, enough talking, let's have a closer look at this aquarium and then get to unboxing those amazing corals. So I actually entered the saltwater aquarium world 12 months ago, and this is after 11 or 12 years of keeping freshwater tanks and having experience in keeping a whole bunch of different freshwater fish, aquarium settings, and all of that kind of fun stuff. But when it came to entering the saltwater world, it was a very daunting and challenging experience just because of the information that you sort of read online. There's this very weird stigma of how difficult saltwater aquariums are, and because of that stigma and knowledge that was sort of passed on, I followed a very strict and stringent set of guidelines when it came to setting up my 40cm cube saltwater aquarium. I already planned out the rock work, the equipment, the corals, the fish, all of those kinds of things because I was sort of thinking that it's going to be incredibly difficult if I don't have these set of disciplinary rules that I had to follow. And yeah, it was just a very daunting and scary experience, but I have learnt so much with that process and setting up this tank. So a year in, I kind of wanted to go on a completely different path and set up a brand new saltwater aquarium, but do it very, very simple in nature. And that inspiration comes from Lauren over at Simple Aquariums, a fellow amazing Australian aquarium YouTuber based in WA. Her channel is completely dedicated to showing off the simplicity that's involved with keeping saltwater aquariums, where she has a beautiful 6-foot saltwater tank that's filtered just through canister filters. And when I saw this for the first time, I was like, oh my god, I've just stumbled upon some dirty secret which I should not have known. However, she just highlights it so well and it's just so eye-opening. So if you're looking at setting up a saltwater aquarium and you want to see someone with a ton of personality, a ton of knowledge, and also a very successful saltwater tank, I'd highly recommend that you go ahead and check out her channel. But when it came to setting up this saltwater aquarium, that's the pathway that I wanted to take. Use some very simple filtration, very simple lighting, a simple aquarium layout, and I wanted her to be a part of this aquarium where I reached out to her and said, Lauren, would I be able to buy some corals off you? Your 6-foot tank is so amazing. And I just fell in love with some of the corals that she had, like the gorgonians, and I asked if I could pay for them and if she could send me some frags. And she said, don't even worry about it. I'm going to send them to you completely free of charge. And that's where she sent me these beautiful gorgonians. So what we'll do is actually jump a few weeks back, open up these corals, and then we'll come back to this aquarium to see how everything is doing. Okay, I just got home from uni and it's always a blast whenever you come home and there's fish or corals waiting for you. When Lauren actually sent me the videos of the corals and things that she was gonna send, I was expecting little tiny frags and she walloped off like half of her gorgonian colony, which just shows off her generosity, and a huge, huge thank you for actually sending these out to me as well. Let's get this open and see how they're actually doing because I'm still yet to look at them. There's a few things that we need to talk about, but firstly, packaging is absolutely amazing. Like, she has done a aquarium store online level delivery packaging here, way better than what I could have expected. So I've got some padding, obviously, some newspaper to make sure they don't get sloshed around. Also, heat pack, and now we've got the first gorgonian, a really cool looking white gorg. This is a lot more fluffy in nature. Let me give you a closer look, and obviously we'll have a look at them when they're settled in the tank. This one is a white gorgonian, and it looks like there are 2 frags in here actually. And yeah, this is really cool fluffy looking one, which I can't wait to add into the aquarium. Now the second one is the larger portion that she cut off. Now this one, it does look like it's bleached a little bit. There are still portions of it that still do have a lot of color,
But generally, and this is, I guess, some good knowledge to have a look at as well. Now, there's nothing wrong with the packaging in any way, shape or form. It's just that sometimes corals can get a little bit stressed when it comes to shipping, and something sensitive like gorgonians can go through this a little bit, but it generally is possible to recover them. So the sort of murky look that you can see in the water is basically just the coral that's expelled its zooxanthellae, which is the photosynthetic algae that it cultivates in its polyps. And luckily these gorgonians are photosynthetic in nature, meaning I don't have to feed them, but I do have a phytoplankton culture going on in case I do need to bring them back to health. Now, they both look like they're gonna recover. This one seems to be a little bit more sensitive, but that's not a big deal at all. Let's get these acclimated, gonna really take my time, add them into the aquarium, and then I'll bring you up to speed on how they're doing.
Now, it's actually been 3 weeks since I added the gorgonians into this aquarium, and they have actually been doing really well. The small fluffier ones, if anyone knows a scientific name for these, please let me know in the comment section down below, but the smaller fluffier ones are fluffier than ever, really great colors, and also the texture, along with the sort of rigid look they have, just makes them look like a fake or a cheap way of keeping aquapora, which I am all for. If I can't keep SPS in my nano tank, I would much rather go for the fake version of them, which is probably gorgonians and like leather corals, so it's great to see them doing so well. The larger gorgonian is actually making a slow and steady recovery. It's regained a lot of its color. The polyps are in and out for like 3 hours a day. They're out for 3 hours, retract, then out for 3 hours. So I don't know if that's just behavior of gorgonians, but if anyone knows, also please feel free to let me know.
The rest of the tank is also doing really well. I wanted to go for a fairly natural theme with this aquarium, and I have a mix of macroalgae, sponges, and soft coral, which give this a real rock pool style aesthetic, which is what I exactly aimed for. I really love how these elements have tied together to create this cohesive look with the assortment of macroalgae like caulerpa, sea lettuce, and also a few other wild specimens that I locally collected. I also have a few soft corals like a fluffy morph, Kenya tree, and Sinularia, which add a really nice pop of colour and texture. I also have a few snails and a ton of copepods because I feed this tank fairly heavily with phytoplankton, which I just see does an amazing change with colours of corals and the way that they grow. And filtration wise, I have 2 hang-on back filters, where one does biological and the other does mechanical, along with one small Aqua One protein skimmer for some added nutrient removal. Oh, and before we wrap up, I did also want to hear your suggestions on what we could potentially stock this nano aquarium with. My original plans were to potentially add in a pair of seahorses because I think they just suit the aesthetic really well. It's a great environment for them, and I feel like they just thrive with the constant supply of copepods and the different branches and perches that they can use in this environment. However, we could also add a potential pair of mandarin fish or dragonet scooter blennies, or any other fish that you'd really think would suit this aquarium, so I'm going to leave that up to you to make a decision and let me know in the comment section down below. If there's a comment that you like, just give it a thumbs up and I know what you Bodgies and Widgies will be leaning towards.
Alrighty, Bodgies and Widgies, thank you so much for actually taking your time out of your Easter long weekend this week to watch this video. If you've got any more questions about this aquarium or want to know any further details about it, make sure you let me know in the comment section down below. And whilst you're down there, feel free to consider subscribing to the channel as well. It's absolutely free and it allows you to keep on track of any changes and any updates. And also the 3rd saltwater aquarium that I've set up this past week, which I'll be making a video about shortly as well. And if you want to see any of Lauren's videos and her amazing channel and get some really in-depth details about the simplicity of saltwater aquariums, along with checking out the other freshwater and also saltwater tanks that she has, make sure you do go ahead and check out her channel, which will be the first link in the description down below. But that's it from me this week, so as always, stay happy, stay safe, stay Aussie Australian. Bodgie out!